Thank you, Alphonse. Thank you, Angeline. Thank you, Lydia, for joining in. Uh, Thank you, Human Rights. Thank you, Bob. Um, uh, Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining in. Uh, Thank you, Gary, for joining in. Thank you, Vanessa, for tuning in. Thank you, Besson Dennis, for joining in. Uh, Remember that I am broadcast live on my YouTube and on my Facebook as well. So either way, you should be able to get me live. And thank you for joining in. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. I will be speaking with you live momentarily. Thank you, Abdel, for joining in. Thank you, Felix. Thank you, Diodene, for joining in. Thank you, Jerry, for joining in. Thank you, Abdel, for joining in. We are about to start, and remember that you can always get me live on my YouTube, Facebook, and so it should be great. Thank you so much. And fellow brothers and sisters, it is a pleasure having all of you here in this wonderful day. Today is an amazing day. Today's October 8th, and I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in. Here again, my name is Funton Daniel. I will be speaking live here from the great state of Texas, here in the United States, and I want to thank all our brothers that are tuning in, that are watching me live here. And if you briefly just indicate below where you are, if you're here in this great state of Texas, and I would like to hear from you as well. And if you are in my brother who is in Baghdad, I want to hear from you as well. If you are, brother Jordan who is in Baghdad, but somewhere he's not in Baghdad, but we acknowledge that he is in Baghdad. But anyway, thank all of you that are tuning in. If you are in La Republic, and we want to thank you for tuning in this morning. Here again, I am broadcast live from my YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And so either way, you should be able to get me live. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuned in. And thanks, Alice. Thanks, Ben, for joining in. And thank all of you. You guys so wonderful. You guys so dear to me. You know, I cannot be more than proud to have a most wonderful people, dedicated people like you guys. So we are in a serious business. You know, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuned in. And I want to take a moment to thank this nation, the United States. It is the most amazing nations. There may be some disagreement that we may agree, but that doesn't necessarily mean that United States is the most wonderful nations on earth that we are so proud of, and we are, I can't imagine what but we are grateful for these nations. God did not make a mistake to make this nation be in the leadership of the world, but unfortunately, there are some individuals that will betray. But however, we gotta move forward. I want to take a moment to thank all of you. So, what is the good news going on around? Maybe you guys also, you guys just briefly indicate below what is new, because I also want to hear from you guys. What is new? Because when you briefly analyze below, I also read what is new. I'm sure you all. So remember that when you go to my YouTube, remember to subscribe, subscribe to my YouTube. Let me know you are aware of what is going on. So because when you go to my YouTube, you can type in Transparent Media International or Funton Daniel, whichever one you find. You should be able to see me or prescribe, and I want to appreciate all of what you guys are doing, But anyway, I want to take a moment before we dive in. I want to thank the United States President. I want to thank the United States Congress. I want to thank the President of the U.S. Senate, the U.S. Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Nikki Haley. I want to thank the U.S. Department of Defense. I want to thank the Secretary of State for his wonderful job. I want to thank the U.S. Ambassador to the neighboring country, La Republique, for his excellent and wonderful job. It is imperative that we need to appreciate their effort. And I want to thank also the British Parliament that is discussing about the issues affecting the people of Ambazonian. So we also have to recognize them too as well, the British Parliament. So, and Theresa May, I don't know what is she still doing. She still is in a cabinet. It seems they're still in a slumber mood. So, but it's time that they need to arise and stand for the will of the people. So I just want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in today. Before we dive into what we are going to be talking about today, I want to first of all congratulate Professor Maurice Kamto for the newly elected President of the La Republic of Cameroons. Professor Maurice Kamto, you all know, is a wonderful, formidable person. in the neighboring country of La Republique du Cameroon. He was elected as the newly president. But I have a great concern because as I'm speaking here, there is an indication that La Republique has, under the watchful eyes of this current dictatorship that is still in a to-the palace, has dispatched a lot of police and military, paramilitary wing around his surrounding. There is indication that there is a mafia going on within La Republique. They are intended to dismantle the victory that has given to Professor Maurice Kamto. And now that he has already declared his victory, and now it is the time for the Western society to support Professor Maurice Kamto, because as you ignore and leave the chaotic scene, it's now the time to act. It's time to act. It's time for the Western society to lay hands and support Professor Maurice Kamto, because once you fail to acknowledge, then you are proceeding to a chaotic scene, which I have foreseen La Republique under this brutal dictatorship. Paul Biya is intended to manipulate and change the course of direction of the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon. So I assure the world that it's time you send a congratulatory message to the newly elected president, Professor Maurice Kamto. It is time we do it now. It's time we wait for it, because the time we keep on delay to acknowledge the newly elected president, that is when we are heading to a new scene of crime. You all know what happened when Frundi was elected. The world ignored, and today we have the chaotic scene. So, but here is the time for the Western society to acknowledge that there is a new president, and immediately ask this brutal dictatorship, Paul Biya of La Republique, to immediately start preparing and recognizing the newly elected president of the La Republique, Professor Maurice Kamto. Professor Maurice Kamto is a well-ingrained individual, and he is looking forward to working. And the first thing I will urge Professor Maurice Kamto, that as our people, the people of Federal Republic of Ambazonian, has now distanced itself from the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon. We, the people of Federal Republic of Ambazonian, has distanced ourselves from the neighboring country, La Republique. As we become a nation, we will be willing to walk across and how we can start negotiating the terms of separation. The terms of separation. And immediately, the first thing we'll urge you for a reconciliation and to maintain our two separate boundaries is to immediately and unconditionally release all our political prisoners that are being held under communicado by a government that has no legality over the people of Federal Republic of Ambazonian. La Republique has no legal authority and over the arrest and the detention of our people. Our people have the legal right to question La Republique. La Republique has no legal authority to control and manipulate our people for their self-egoistic interests. So we welcome you for your new leadership skill. We will recognize you and we will be willing to work with you so long as you are able to recognize our goal and our objectives. Our people are being held under a communicado by a country that has no legal authority over our people. Remember, when the United Nations voted for the sovereignty of the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon, our people were not part of that nation. And so when our people were voted in 1961, La Republique wasn't. The fact that we choose to come together, the essence is to pull our resources together for the common good of both nations. But that doesn't give La Republique a control over the people of Amazonia. So I am here congratulating the newly elected president of the neighboring country, La Republique, Professor Maurice Kamto. As you begin to take up your office as the new president of the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon, we, the people of Ambazonia and those in the diaspora, we stand and we will be willing to work with you and to see how we can negotiate the terms of separation. The terms of separation is an urgent that we must develop that coherent and working as good neighbors and working together. So by so doing, we will be able to forge the two nations as we live in harmony and two separate boundaries as we live together. But I urge Maurice Kamto that our people has been under excruciating torture by a neighboring country that has no legal authority over our people. Our people are being murdered each day. Our people are being slaughtered each day. Our people are being burned down at their homes. I can imagine the family that escaped and left their father yesterday. And before they realized it was a burnt charcoal. When I talk of charcoal, which means there was no pieces to be recognized from his body. It's because we extend the hands of welcome to this neighboring country that we can work together. Instead, they have a secondary perception, looking at us as more of a colonial territory rather than the people whom they have separate independence. But I am here speaking here from this great state of Texas. I assure you that our people will no longer sit and fold their arms and see the persecution that is carried on by the neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. Our people must stand firmly. Our people must fight the enemy. Our people must face the enemy. Our people must persuade the enemy. And we will not sit out and fold our arms and see our enemy destroy our home and our parents. For those who choose to be dinner with La Republic, I can assure you it's time you take note of yourself, because we will not be romancing with those individuals. Our people have struggled within the past 56 years under a brutal regime, from one brutal regime to the next brutal regime. And so therefore we are sending our message to you, Professor Maurice Kamto, the newly elected president of the La Republic of Cameroon. We are open to any negotiations, the terms of separation, and the terms of the release of our political prisoner, the terms of recognizing the boundary that separates us together, so that we can forge a relationship that will allow free flow of economic transportation and other areas, and that we will be able to discuss this in terms of after our separation. So by so doing so, we recognize that immediately your priority is to immediately release all our relatives that are under the concentration camp of your country. So our people will no longer succumb to any further destruction by the neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. We believe in an open, transparent, democratic government. We believe in an elected officials. We believe the people must have a choice. We believe that the people should not be intimidated by bribery and scandal. We believe that the initial choice of people making decisions is based on their personal choice, not personal forceful or bribery scandal. So as I'm speaking here, I urge Professor Maurice Kamto that as you begin to forge a new office, I can assure you that our people will be working collaboratively, working across, and will be as how we gonna build a new two separate nations. We recognize your newly positions. I understand that while you are still in your office, while you still been elected, there is a military that has been deployed around your compound. So I am bringing attention to the world community. It's time to stand beside Professor Maurice Kamto, because La Republic is already deployed military to suppress the will of the people of La Republic that have making a choice that will decide the future of La Republic of Cameroon. But unfortunately, that choice may be taken away by this evil, brutal dictatorship, phobia of the neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. Fellow brothers and sisters, people of the Western society, there is a problem that is going on. La Republic is planning and forging immediate termination of the result of the elected people, Professor Maurice Kamto of neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. There is already military deployment, and even his financial secretary, what is the financial secretary or financial representative, has been arrested by this terrorist government. That can assure the world that this is not a government that one can ever be trusted. So I assure the world community, it's time to step up and support a democratic form of government in the neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. It's time the world to immediately, unconditionally recognize the newly elected president of the neighboring country. It's time the world community to do so, because once you delay La Republic under this brutal dictatorship of the old 86 years Paul Biya is beginning to manipulate, is beginning to cook out things that is not going to be a reality. As the people are ready to celebrate their sovereign, their independence, their election victory. So I urge the world community, it's time to stand beside and support Professor Maurice Kamto. You all know what happened to Ivory Coast. You all know what happened to Ivory Coast. It's time for the world community to stand and lay hands support the newly elected president of the Professor Maurice Kamto. We cannot have one single individual that is in power for 36 years and doesn't even feel any pain, any remorse towards the people. But instead he chooses candidature and trying to manipulate the election. Fellow people of the Western society, it's time to stand for change and differences. The people of Ambazonian, the people of the defense movement, for the people that stood yesterday to demonstrate that La Republic is a neighboring country, by demonstrating that no single occasion, there may be some scheming individual that decided to not to abide by the decisions of the people of Ambazonian. There are certain individuals whom you all know who they are. They are within our midst. They violate our no election in the people of Ambazonian. You all are aware of those individuals. Despite the fact that we said zero election, but the absolute result is incredible. And we have demonstrated that La Republic is a neighboring country and cannot organize any election in the federal.